The Republic is victorious.
What's up, meta nerds? In this video, we'll be pulling from every resource available to completely understand the Shistavanen species. Often referred to as Wolfmen due to their striking lupine features, they originate from Uvina Prime, a planet characterized by its forested continents, vast oceans, and natural caves. The Shistavanen evolved in an environment that necessitated keen survival skills. Their home planet, situated in the Outer Rim territories, experiences strong sunlight from at least one star, creating a generally warm climate. One of their most intriguing aspects is their apparent evolution under influence of some unknown genetic engineers. Since they are humanoid, everything would point to the Rakata, though of course there could have been countless other species that carried on this legacy after the Rakatan Empire fell. But they show a level of biological modification that is not commonly observed in other species. The end product stood at an average height of 1.8 meters, just under 6 feet, and weighed around 60 kilograms, or only 132 pounds, making them a lot lighter than most other humanoid species of their size. While their average lifespan of 96 years does put them slightly above the average for humanoids, and is suspected to be another sign of that genetic engineering. The Wolfmen's physical characteristics, a pronounced muzzle, sharp claws, long pointed teeth, and pointed ears, are of course similar to wolves, but they also have unique traits such as large glowing eyes, and the ability to run at high speeds using both bipedal and quadrupedal locomotion. In those warm jungles and forests, this gave them the best of both worlds, able to swing through the trees like primates, and then hit the ground running like a canine. The sensory abilities further set them apart with excellent night vision, acute hearing, and an enhanced sense of smell. With all this, they quickly became the dominant predators on their homeworld, though they often hunted at night, as they were more sensitive to intense sunlight, and they had an aversion to loud sounds and strong odors, to the point that they could get kind of panicky and disoriented. So they're almost like werewolf vampires, and that the light itself, and the very buzz of light during the daytime, was physically painful to the Shistavanen. The case of Kate Trovel, an albino Shistavanen, added even more layers of complexity. While it might be a natural variation of their species, she believed it resulted from an experiment, suggesting that even this late in their evolutionary history, either the memory of these original aliens that carried out these experiments were still being spread throughout their culture, and thus some form of hallucination or mental illness made her think that's what happened to her. Or if we take her word for it, some alien species was still kidnapping them and subjecting them to external genetic manipulation, similar to claims on our own world. Coruscanti biologists and sociologists seem to agree on this point, and they even think it's the cause for their inclination towards seclusion, which is most vividly illustrated in their approach to colonizing the Uvina system. By deliberately occupying all uninhabited worlds, they effectively created a buffer zone, deterring non-Shistavanen settlements and maintaining a controlled environment for their own species. Like we saw on the forest moon of Endor, where countless alien species landed and were able to make this moon their new home. The Shistavanen wanted to make sure they had eyes and ears everywhere throughout their solar system, and had zero tolerance for alien settlements. This isolationist mindset extended into their economic policies as well. They have instituted trade laws that are unapologetically biased in favor of their own kind, further alienating off-world traders and reinforcing their preference for self-sufficiency. Such policies not only ensure economic control within their territory, but also serve as a mechanism to limit external cultural influences. As many cultures had complained even as far back as the Old Republic era, that control of what happened to your own system and even your own homeworld was often dictated by the groupthink on Coruscant. And culturally, everything from food to clothing and music did blend together in this galaxy-spanning culture. But technologically, they do align with the broader galactic standard, though some notable variances exist within Uvina Prime itself. Some regions of their homeworld employ less advanced tech, showing they wanted to keep their homeworld the most pure, the least touch from any outside alien forces. Again, while still struggling with this phenomena that some alien species had been kidnapping them long into their past and even their present, you get the sense that they're looking at every other alien species with a side eye, wondering which one was doing this to them. Despite their predominantly isolationist ethos, of course, like any species, they are not a monolith. A minority of their population displays a more adventurous spirit, often seen traveling the galaxy's hyperlanes, still tend to either stick to their own kind or embrace complete solitude, even if they were adventurous enough to leave their solar system. But when need of credits, they were able to use these traits in particularly effective roles that require independence, like being scouts, mercenaries, or bounty hunters, things that require a lot of independence, while also capitalizing on their innate predatory instincts and physical prowess. And there was no cultural shame attached to these professions. It's actually the opposite, seen as the peak of self-reliance and strength. And during Emperor Palpatine's reign, you see this odd relationship where the New Order's pronounced xenophobia toward non-humans, in a weird way, wasn't as big a contradiction as people think with how they relied on Shistavanen scouts. They knew that these aliens did not want any power within the Empire. They posed no threat to the human hegemony, so the Empire's utilitarian approach saw these scouts as valuable assets for tracking down criminals, rebels, and other persons of interest. If there were any Shistavanen Jedi that survived into this era, they likely would have been some of the hardest to find. And there was Wolfmen, who was a powerful Jedi Master who did go against the grain of his species' reclusivity and played an important role in the Clone Wars. But as the Galactic Civil War dragged on, we see further diversification of roles for Shistavanen individuals. Lak Sivrak, a former Imperial scout, defected to join the Rebel Alliance. Similarly, Riv Sheel, who became a pilot in the famed Rogue Squadron, showed the true adaptability and bravery of these people. In the New Republic era, we see Havrak, who became an adjutant advisor for the Diversity Alliance, an organization known for its speciest views, as the Diversity Alliance group was both anti-human and anti-Jedi, which originally spread with the Twi'leks of Ryloth, and came to incorporate many non-humans who felt oppressed by decades of Imperial rule. And of course there's Kayat Trovel, that albino Shistavanen that I mentioned before, who was a member of Rock Squadron of the Queeman survivors, mercenaries employed by Leonia Tavira of the Invidious, which really showed the complexity of life as both a pirate and then a mercenary. But what's most crazy of all is that no one has been able to figure out which species has been experimenting on these people. I still think the simplest explanation would be the Rakata, who did alter the genome to make countless other humanoids, sometimes altering them on their homeworld, other times spreading them throughout the stars. But the accounts of more recent abductions and experiments would be evidence that it's some other species. Definitely let me know what you guys think about that in the comments down below. As for behind the scenes facts, there's not much. Just check out the Essential Guide to Alien Species, The Unknown Regions, Ultimate Alien Anthology, and Young Jedi Knights Diversity Alliance. Please hit that like button, subscribe to see more, and check out these videos, I'm sure you'll like them. But most important of all, remember, even the aliens are being abducted by aliens, and the Force will be with you, always.